Welcome to the Montana Department of Labor and Industry Employment Standards Division's course for workers' compensation. In this presentation, we will cover what it is, employers' requirements, coverage exemptions, how to obtain a workers' compensation policy, risks of not having coverage, and how the Uninsured Employers Fund plays a part in the Workers' Compensation Act. Workers' compensation is a mandatory, no-fault insurance with limited exceptions. Workers' compensation coverage is required for all full-time, part-time, seasonal, and occasional workers and cannot be substituted by other insurances such as health or disability insurance. Employers pay for the cost of the policy and are not permitted to deduct from wages or otherwise require employees to pay for the premiums. Employees cannot sign away their rights to workers' compensation insurance coverage. Workers' compensation coverage provides medical and wage loss benefits to injured workers. It also protects employers from costly and unpredictable lawsuits by injured workers. With few exceptions, workers' compensation is the only remedy available to the injured employee. An employer is defined under Montana Code Annotated 39-71-117 and includes the state and each county, city and county, city school district, and irrigation district, all other districts established by law, all public corporations and quasi-public corporations, and public agencies, each person, each prime contractor, each firm, voluntary association, limited liability company, limited liability partnership, and private corporation, including any public service corporation, and including an independent contractor who has a person in service under an appointment or contract of hire, expressed or implied, oral or written, and the legal representative of any deceased employer or the receiver or trustee of the deceased employer. In short, if you provide wages to an individual for work performed, you are considered an employer. Employee defined. An employee is defined as each person in this state, including a contractor other than an independent contractor who is in the service of an employer, as defined by Montana Code Annotated 39-71-117, under any appointment or contract of hire, expressed or implied, oral or written. Exemptions. There are limited exceptions from the requirement for workers' compensation coverage, 26 to be exact. Those exemptions can be found in Montana Code Annotated 39-71-401. A few examples of the most common exemptions are household or domestic employment, employment of non-household members for the purpose of tending to the aid, comfort of the employer or a member of the employer's family. For example, house cleaning, yard work. It does not include employment beyond the scope of domestic duties, such as home health care. Casual employment is when you employee pay someone to complete work unrelated to your profession or business. For example, a homeowner paying someone to mow the lawn at their house is considered casual employment as long as the homeowner does not have a lawn care business. A person employed by an enrolled tribal member or an association, business, corporation, or other entity that is at least 51% owned by an enrolled tribal member or members whose business is conducted solely within the interior boundaries of an Indian reservation. Workers' compensation can be obtained under 3 different plans. Plan 1, self-insured. The department determines whether an employer has the requisite financial ability to pay workers' compensation, indemnity, and medical benefits, and, if so, grants the employer permission to self-insure their workers' compensation liabilities. An application is required along with financial statements and are reviewed by the department. Financial ratios are computed and compared to other businesses in the same industry to determine the strength of the business and its ability to make workers' compensation payments when due. Plan 2, private carriers. Plan 2, private carriers authorized to write work comp in Montana are required to endorse Montana in Section 3A of the policy in order to be considered valid Montana coverage. Montana does not accept all states' coverage endorsements typically listed in Section 3C. Plan 3, Montana State Fund. The Montana State Fund is the guaranteed market insurer in Montana. This means, with limited exceptions, they are required to write a policy for a business. One of the exceptions is if the business had a previous policy and still owes money on that policy. The Uninsured Employers Fund, also referred to as the UEF, is a self-funded program administered by the Department of Labor. Although not an insurer, the UEF adjudicates and pays medical and wage loss benefits for compensable claims for workers who were injured while working for an uninsured employer. Risks and penalties. If you have employees and do not have a workers' compensation policy, you are at risk. If an employee is injured on the job, you will be required to pay the costs of the claim paid by the UEF. These costs can include medical bills, wage loss, rehabilitation, and any other costs incurred during the life of the claim. An uninsured employer is also subject to penalties for not carrying the required workers' compensation coverage. Penalties are assessed at twice what the workers' compensation premium would have been, or $200, whichever is greater for the time of being uninsured. This concludes the presentation for workers' compensation requirements. Additional information can be found on our website, or you may contact the Montana Department of Labor Employment Standards Division by email or by phone. Thank you.